Hello, my name is Ezekiel Salas, and I'll be discussing tissues in the body. So today we'll start with epithelial tissue. It covers the exterior surface of the body. It lines organs, it does passageways, vessels, and it also forms certain types of glands. The structures vary from simple squamous to cuboidal to columnar to stratified and pseudostratified. There's also more classifications of it. The epithelial tissue lines all of our organs. It lines like our stomach. It lines our cavities that have all our organs. Some of the other specifics are ciliated, which lines our upper respiratory and the female reproductive organs, which helps with movement of foreign particles, and in the female it helps with movement in the fallopian tube of the egg to the uterus. Exchange epithelial tissue, which is located within the lungs and the vessels. This allows for gas exchange, oxygen, carbon dioxide, and blood to permeate. Protective, which is in the skin, our outer skin is epithelial tissue. It also is in our mouth, that's epithelial tissue. Transporting epithelial tissue is tissue that's in like our intestines and our digestive system. That's what helps move materials and nutrients throughout it. Secreting epithelial tissue is found in like thyroid, sweat glands, saliva glands. It lines that area and it secretes a hormone in the thyroid gland and sweat and saliva. The next tissue we'll talk about is connective tissue. Connective tissue binds the cells and organs of the body together. It helps with protection and support, and it's integrated throughout all the body parts. There's four major types of connective tissue. The first one is loose. Loose connective tissue is primarily located underneath the skin and around certain structures in the skin. It's the layer that our skin attaches to. Dense connective tissue is found in our joint areas with ligaments, tendons. Dense connective tissue has a high matrix value, so it has a lot of extracellular stuff that's made up of a protein called collagen. Adipose tissue is the next connective tissue. Adipose tissue is primarily for fat storage. It is also lined throughout our cavity as a shock absorber. It doesn't really have a high matrix. Another type of connective tissue is blood and lymph fluid. Blood is considered a connective tissue, just like the lymph fluid. Even though it's in a liquid form, it still connects things. The next tissue that we'll talk about is muscle tissue. Muscle tissue is an excitable tissue that responds to stimulus. It contracts, provides movement, occurs where there's major types of muscle tissue are skeletal, smooth muscle, and cardiac. Skeletal tissue or skeletal muscle tissue is what makes up our muscles that move our body. Whenever we do movement, those is our skeletal muscle. It's a voluntary thing. We tell it to move. The next type of tissue is smooth muscle tissue. Smooth muscle tissue is located inside of organs, intestines, stomachs, like that. It's involuntary. We don't tell it to move. It moves for us, like through peristalsis, and it does the job that it's supposed to do. Cardiac muscle is just our heart, what it says. It's also an involuntary. It contracts and pumps blood in our heart. Skeletal muscle is striated. Smooth muscle is non-striated. And cardiac muscle is striated. Our last tissue that we'll talk about is the nervous tissue. Nervous tissue reacts to stimulant and allows electrochemical signals to pass through the nerves to other nerves to create movement, to create a sensation of pain. These nerves or these tissues are found throughout our body, in our brain, in our spinal cord. They branch out through our entire body. It gives us our tactile sense. It gives us our sense of heat and cold. The structure of a nerve cell is a neuron, which is the large star part, and then it runs off to a neural ganglia, which is what connects to the next neuron, so that the electrochemical transmit can go to the next nerve and do whatever it's told to do, or whatever the stimulator tells it to do. Thank you very much. Those are our tissues.